What's up, everybody? This is Nick, and you're joining us once again for a Pull Up a Chair podcast, a PUC Podcast, where we are going to tell you about things that we remember fondly, things that remind us of our past and shows us where we're going with our future. And as always, I'm joined by my fellow nostalgicator and friend.
Okay. This is what's with the pause?
Buddy, dramatic effect.
Well, I don't know when to
You
say my name. Eric Boyd.
Need to understand when dramatic effect takes effect. You got to be careful for the effect that it has.
All right.
Well, all right. Today we are going back in time. We're going back to kind of the late 90s this time. Not as far back as we normally go, but it was a time, Eric, when animation was plentiful, when internet was slow, but we would still get on to tune into these.
You would tolerate that.
Yeah,
it was just part of the culture.
And we are, of course, talking about today Flash animation. It was something that saw a huge rise, honestly, toward the end of, toward the end of 1990 up until kind of 2000, early 2000s.
Yeah, in researching this, you showed me, and I didn't know, several very, very popular cartoons that were on network TV were made in Flash, and I did not know that.
Oh, Flash has gotten its use. Obviously, something that was very popular was something I remember getting my first phones, like smartphone, and I couldn't play Flash video, and I was upset by it.
I remember that.
They didn't play it, and obviously that's where HTML5 kind of came out and is kind of taken over.
Yeah, because it's video ready on all browsers.
But I remember that being a thing, and people would sell in the App Store. Of course, my first smartphone was an iPhone.
Yes.
That I got. I'm a late adopter, and once again, I got it for cheap because I got a contract with AT&T.
Oh.
But I remember, you could get on the iOS, the App Store, and you could get in, they'd be like, buy this Flash player.
Yes.
And it was terrible. And of course, I always tried to download the free ones, and they were janky and would mess up your phone and all that stuff.
I remember that. Flash was a big, we talk about Flash now. It's pretty much stopped support for Flash. Had a bunch of security issues, a lot of other issues. I don't know if there's development issues on it. You've been using it. I remember the first Flash I tried to learn to develop in Flash was Flash, I think MX.
Okay. Did you try to make your own cartoons?
Yeah. Well, no, I tried to learn Flash. I tried to learn it. And I did actually, when I was doing web design, my web designer, I was the programmer. I did all the programming in the back end. The web designer, we kind of teamed up and did like a Flash animation for a website because that's what they wanted. And so we did one, and it took us a long time, and we charged quite a bit of money for it because we didn't know how to do it either. And so we made they were a builder, a house builder. Mm-hmm. And so we did an animation of kind of like a Bob the Builder is what it looked like. It was just like picking up a house and pushing the face of a house up and then walking into it. And that was it. That was all it did.
Huh. What did you name the character?
I don't remember. I think we call him Bob the Builder.
Eric the Builder.
Because he looked like Bob the Builder. Oh. My designer built all the assets, and I just kind of figured out how to use it in Flash. It took us a while. We were not good. I can't believe someone bought that.
Well, I tried to, honestly, I tried to do some Flash stuff because I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. I wonder how hard it is. I just found I couldn't draw.
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
That was the biggest thing that because really once you got in there, as far as making an animation, it was really just like a flip book. You would...
Yes, we had keyframes.
Yeah, you draw each frame, and it would... just kind of go across, and then you'd export the video.
Yes.
But, it was something that was like, I'm not doing this. Plus you had to do, you had to animate each frame. By the way, Flash is finally being killed in 2020.
Is that what it is?
2020, it will finally go away. Adobe will finally get rid of it.
Okay, so, and another one that's getting rid of is Java. The JVM is going away. That's a big thing because a lot of old software runs on that. So that's pretty interesting, man. A lot of classic software is going away, and it's really hard to believe the impact Flash had on me, on kind of like the internet experience for a decade at least, very heavily for at least a decade, and it's kind of lingered on. And a lot of younger people won't realize, I don't want to say what they're missing out on, but the early culture of looking for Flash videos and Flash games and Flash websites. What is the most prominent Flash website that you can think of?
Well, I mean, I always fall back to Newgrounds or Homestar Runner. Homestar Runner was immensely popular. I kind of enjoyed the underground scene of Newgrounds because it was neat.
Man.
Here's the thing. It was neat to kind of see these new artists putting out stuff. Like, I remember there were some things I watched that were I guess class projects, and they were kind of neat, where they were just making class projects.
Yeah, some early animators or something. Video producers. Yeah, what is name I will get back to Homestar Runner here in a little bit, but name an early animation series or one-off, whatever, that you remember early on that kind of stands out.
One that stands out?
Yes.
Man.
We talked about a bunch of them before we started.
Homestar Runner for sure.
Yeah, I'm talking about like animated series. I guess Homestar Runner does have an animated series behind it. There are the videos.
Well, there was one that honestly I followed from, and it only stands out because it actually had an ending. A lot of these people would start and they would never
They'd fizzle out, or I mean, it was a very time intensive.
It was
to build these Flash animations.
A lot of people weren't making money off of these. That was the thing, is that people weren't making money off of them.
It was not monetized.
No. And so I do remember Xin, Xin, was one done by Life.1. It was one that I watched pretty much. I mean, I would tune into it. As one I showed you.
Yes, I remember that. I remember watching this
for
one.
its time. I mean, the animation, I'll be honest, was not great, but it was
kind of garbage animation.
It was. I mean, it was kind of fun just because for what it was.
It looks like characters my son could draw. It really does.
Right.
But what year did Shin come out? You didn't have a lot to choose from, to be honest with you. So I'm dogging it a little bit, but it was there. It was doing something I couldn't do for sure.
I'm trying to think about when it did come out. You found it on YouTube. It was uploaded in 2006.
Yeah.
But that's when they changed it over to HTML5. It was up on their website long before that. And it was a project that took them, well, I mean, I don't know how long it took them to do. Plus, it was something like 2 seasons of 18 episodes or whatever.
Oh, really?
And so they did like 36 animations. The last one I remember was like 30 minutes long, which was just, I remember when it came out, I was like, holy cow, this is cool. Like they did a 30-minute long Flash animation. It's something I had never seen before.
Did you watch it on Newgrounds?
No, I watched it actually on their website.
Okay.
They had life.1.com. It was one that I found on Newgrounds originally. And then I found that they were putting out earlier episodes on they put the episode out first on their website. So I'd go to their website.
Okay. Well, looking at Newgrounds, they have been a member of Newgrounds, the Life.1 Newgrounds page since 2003. So 15 years.
Okay.
So you think Life.1 was around that same time? Did they also do Surface?
Yeah, they did Surface. Surface was another one they did. Kazahana was one that kind of gained popularity. That was one that a lot of people, like, they got a lot of, I wasn't a fan of it as much, but they got other artists to draw that one.
That's crazy.
All these stories would intersect, but I mean, it was, I don't know, they just kind of did series. The only one they actually finished was Shin, and that's one that actually, that's why it stands out to me, is because it was like, wow, this actually has an ending.
It was very much anime style, like,
yeah,
writing.
It was something that if you look at it, you realize it was done as kind of a send up and
homage.
Yeah, kind of a homage to, homage to anime.
Yeah, it's very anime-ish, American like interpretation of anime.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean that's really cool. What else do we have here? You brought up Zombie, Xombie.
Yeah,
which is one you showed me.
Which is James Farr. He's actually a fellow Oklahoman.
Oh, is he? Where's he from?
I don't remember. I just remember looking and seeing he was from Oklahoma a while back. I'll have to look that up. But he made this. That's another one that actually had an ending. It had one season, and then they had he got a comic book deal out of it. And
yeah, I remember you telling me all about that.
Yeah, he got a comic book. The comic book ran for a while. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what all happened, but now he's kind of come back out. He's trying to get he's put out a new zombie back in 2017 at the beginning, but he had a Patreon he was trying to get rolling to get him some funding to make the rest of it. I don't know that he's going to get it. He's actually from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. He's around my area. Yeah. Well, cool. I wonder if we can ever get a hold of him. Do a little interview. I wonder if he's still local.
I don't know.
We need to find out. All right. Future project. All right. Yeah. Zombie. I remember you calling me. So here's what Nick and I would do. We would scour the web and find random Flash animations and games, usually Flash animations, and show them to each other. And I can't remember. An old site that I used to look at was atom.com, which was atom.com. It came out in, I want to say 1998, a little bit after Newgrounds, which was 95. And it was kind of like a area for a lot of artists to put their shows. If I remember right, it was eventually acquired by MTV, by the MTV network. And when that happened, you saw a definite change in the content and the style of the website. And I fell away back then. And I think the website might still be going. Let me look it up real quick. I can see if atom.com is still what it's utilized for now.
It's just a short film.
Short film?
I looked it up a second ago. It's a short film thing now where they...
Okay.
I mean, it seems pretty mainstream now, but I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know what all they've done with it now, but I don't know. It's pretty neat to see. Well, I mean, it's weird to see these things still going on, but it is kind of neat to see that things that we used to watch years ago are still out there in some form.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot is maintained on YouTube. Just people, like we watched, what's that one we watched just a moment ago? You showed me the hairy face guy jumping around in the woods.
Oh, you're talking about Bitey's Castle.
Bitey's Castle.
Yeah.
I remember you showing me that years ago. It's not one I watched regularly. I think I watched it a handful of times. But someone had basically captured video off their computer screen.
Yeah.
And uploaded.
Somebody did a terrible job.
Yeah.
It actually said unregistered camera on it.
Yeah, I was like,
as they filmed it. But no, Bitey's Castle was kind of a cool one because, I mean, it was this guy that he used to work for Disney and he kind of did these on the side, and they're beautiful animations. If you go back, especially for back then, but it was beautiful Flash animations, and it was amazing to look at these and go, because I mean, honestly, they were the most elaborate Flash animations I'd ever seen. And I was like, to go back and look at these, it was like, wow, somebody could do this in Flash animation. It's bitey.com, BITEY, is the website.com, and you can find these original animations. But I mean, he put these things out years and years ago, and I mean, they still look incredible if you play them. I mean, it may not be for everybody. I mean, they're not really, they're not really for telling they don't really tell like an ongoing story, but I mean, they're just kind of beautiful to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that would play out for someone nowadays. They might, kind of how we would go, looking at something old, like we're pretty old. So what's older than us? A wax cylinder record, or being dirt. Like, wow, that's amazing.
People aren't going to look at dirt and be like, wow, that's amazing. Or, it's the coolest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
I mean, sliced bread we look at now, but I'm sure the first time somebody cut a piece of bread, it was like, that's awesome.
Sliced bread's not really that old either.
Is it not?
Yeah, that saying is a relatively new saying. 1928. So that's when that saying is kind of, since sliced bread, 1928. So it's not like way older than that. That's the first time there was it was sold. So, and I think that's what they're referencing, the selling of sliced bread. But that's not what we're here about. We're not that nostalgic. All right, so...
Well, I guess it was the first fully functioning, I'm looking this up, bread slicing machine was in 1928.
Yeah.
So that may be why that saying all of a sudden came around.
Exactly. So, Flash is going away in 2 years.
Yeah.
About a year and a half or so. No one really develops in it anymore. The site there's two major, one website and one video series that really caught my attention. What was possible with Flash early on, and the first being Homestar Runner. If you don't know Homestar Runner, you can still go to homestarrunner.com. It is still functioning. If you look at the copyright, it's from 2000 to 2010. The site occasionally still gets an update, very occasionally, but it had some of the best and funniest animation. Now,
This was the Chapman brothers, right?
The Chapman brothers, yeah.
Brothers Chap, if I remember.
That's them. I forget what else. They kind of moved on after that, and I can't remember what they did. They had I don't want to say like a reunion, but they had a kind of like a closing party for Homestar Runner just a few years ago in Georgia, if I remember right. I only know about that is because Bernie Burns of Rooster Teeth talked about it as going to it. Him and I think he took one other person from the company, and they talked about going to the kind of, I don't want to say shutdown of Homestar Runner, but kind of like a 20-year reunion. I don't remember. When did Homestar Runner officially start? I mean, it was a monster. It was a powerhouse in the on the internet nearly from its beginning.
Oh wow! So Matt of Brothers Chap actually worked on a series that you and I are very fond of.
What's that?
Gravity Falls.
Oh, he was part of Gravity Falls?
Yes.
Man, my kids love that show too. That's
Matt
a good show.
was the actual voice actor of Homestar Runner. He worked as a writer and director for Yo Gabba Gabba. He also worked on Disney Channel's Gravity Falls, the Hub live action series, the Aquabat Super Show. Matt wrote the Wander Over Yonder episodes, a few of them. Let's see here. He also appeared, I guess, on, speaking of Rooster Teeth, on a Camp episode.
Oh, he really did? That's pretty crazy. Yeah. I don't watch Camp, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Homestar Runner ran from 1996, development 96 to 2003. I don't know what they mean by development because I thought it ran past that. Homestar Runner enters the strongman in the world contest while working summer jobs surrounding the 1996 Summer Olympics. We just talked about the Olympics in a show, 3 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago. A gold medal podcast.
Gold medal podcast. We talked about the 96 Olympics, and we talked about the some other stuff around the Olympics that we remember. Yeah.
Yeah, because it really boils down to all that we remember. But, man, here's the thing. Homestar Runner was very... I mean, especially you look at the original animation. I remember going back and kind of... Because you could go to their archives.
Yeah.
And you could look at their you could look at, kind of what started it all. Like they had the original, it was like a book type thing. And you look at the animation for what it started at and what it became. It was something, you'd go there, they'd have different opening screens.
I remember that. Now, they still have the strings, but yeah, I used to have a book animation of turning a page.
Yes. And the animation just became incredible.
And the writing for it was so good. They do such a good job playing kind of like homage to other writers and other styles of art that influence them. So if you go to Homestar Runner now, in the lower left corner of the site, which is like a little window on the page, remember Homestar Runner used to take up your whole screen in its resolution. But with the resolution I'm using now, it's like a block. It's kind of centered in the screen that's not very large. Takes up maybe a fifth of the screen?
Maybe a fifth of the screen. But, here's the other thing. Oh, yeah, because, that was, you also got to remember it was something that it did. It was a square monitor at the time. So, yeah, it took up your whole thing.
I still have a square monitor.
You do still have a square. If you put it in that one, it would probably take up the whole screen.
I probably could size it. I can do that. Boom.
Okay, maybe not. It does not take up the whole. Well, yeah, I guess you could.
I'm resizing the. Oh,
there were all sorts of, and really, Homestar Runner was one of the first ones that I think introduced me to the idea of an Easter egg on there. Remember, click on the screen just about anywhere.
Yeah, like I'm doing it right now.
Yes.
Like weird things happen. It acts like it's glitching out.
Well, it would even happen during. The Strong Bad.
Yeah, strong bad emails.
The Strong Bad emails.
Here they are. Strong bad emails.
Which, by the way, what would you say? Would you say Strong Bad emails is what is most remembered about this site?
How could it not be? The voice and I don't know who voiced Strong Bad. Was it the Brothers Chap?
It may have been Matt. I'll find that out.
But yeah, Strong Bad emails are hilarious. Let's see here. They're like basically joke writing at a very high level.
Yeah, it was Matt Chapman. He did Strong
Bad. And then there's the Burninator.
Well, yeah, Trogdor. That's what I was going to say. What do you think's one of the most memorable things from, besides Strong Bad? What do you think's one of the most? I remember Trogdor was probably the most talked about thing, other than what's his name himself, the Strong Bad himself.
Oh yeah. Well, Trogdor, it came from one of his emails he got Strong Bad emails was like he would get emails and then answer them, and they were hilarious. They're kind of like they would hype really viral back in the day, but that word didn't exist. But they were so funny. He took, I don't know how many characters. They were usually pretty short, just a few sentences, and someone would write a question and he would reply back in a few sentences. Just so funny. I actually played Trogdor the Burninator just like a few weeks ago.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I was on here.
Trogdor the Burninator. You remember he came up with a song at the end of that?
Yeah, I remember that. And so yeah, I was playing Trogdor.
It's a fun game though.
I gotta remember how to do the fire breath. I'm trying to do it right now. I can't remember how to do fire breath. Oh yeah, I gotta earn fire breath by smashing people.
You gotta eat the peasants. But yeah, Trogdor was a fun game. I remember they made Peasant's Quest, which was a old homage to King's Quest and those types of things.
Which we played King's Quest. You showed that to me. I never really got into King's Quest, but we played it a year ago now.
Yeah.
Got it. So if it hasn't been taken down on YouTube, it might be out there. I don't know.
Oh, it was going back to it, obviously. You gotta wait a second. What is that I see up? It said something about Strong Bad's Twitter. Strong Bad has a Twitter now?
Are you kidding me?
No.
I don't really Twitter, but
Strong Bad's Twitter. People, if you love Strong Bad, he apparently posted March 8th. That's the last time. But if you love
that's just a couple days ago.
You
follow.
Can go to his. Oh, there's a Homestar Runner.
There you go. I got both.
Man, they are.
Why
they
not?
are really keeping this thing alive,
Well,
aren't
they
they?
spent a decade. Oh, it got in 2011. They spent a decade building a community. And by community, I mean, it's not as interactive as maybe some of the newer communities are, but the email submissions were real emails from people. And to this day, if I talk to someone our age who was in college, especially in the early 2000s, they're most likely going to know about Homestar Runner, especially if it's a nerdy guy like some people that are not us. We're super cool guys, but other people who are nerdy, we just happen to be cool guys that know about Homestar Runner. But it was such a big deal. Another one that was a big deal. I really hate to leave the subject of Homestar Runner.
Yeah, I mean, we could really do a whole show based off Homestar Runner because there's so many things that
Marzipan and Homestar.
Well, you had Marzipan. Plus, you remember when they did the kind of the anime send up?
Yeah, I just had that up a second ago.
One of my favorites is when he fights the guy that. You remember the guy that used to be on websites where it'd be like, we're working on it, and he'd be shoveling, and then the two guys get into a fight?
Yes.
It was, I mean, all that stuff was very funny and very well done.
Yes.
But what's another one that you were about to bring up, my friend?
I'm going to bring up one that I really thought showed the ability of Flash, and that was Ninja the Little Warrior. Little Ninja, I'm sorry. Ninja the Little Ninja, which was a story... series based around a ninja, obviously.
You obviously get choked up when you talk about it.
Yeah, I know. My voice almost cut out. Ninja is this little ninja. He has lost his memory. I can't really remember all that.
He lost his memory or he didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
But remember, he kind of referred to everybody as demons.
Yeah, and so he fights, but it was the choreographed fights that were so well done. But I think in the third, I can't remember what episode of the series, the third, fourth, fifth, or sixth, I don't remember. They did this animation. The series started out with a bird flying, and he's going through trees and stuff, and the camera's panning around the bird as it flies through trees, and it was absolutely amazing. The only time I'd seen such good work in animation was movies. And that was it. And those are like feature films. I saw that and I said, whoever is making this is absolutely amazing. The story was so well developed, so fun. Obviously the art and the choreograph and the very little voice acting, but it was really well done. Well, I have to go back and listen to the voice acting. It's been a while since I heard it to see if it holds up.
Well, if I remember correctly, the voice acting is like you could almost hear the microphone being turned on and off type of deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Maybe in the earlier ones. I thought it got pretty good.
Well, no, it got smoother toward the end. I mean, there was a long... With that kind of animation, I remember there were long periods where it would... And I mean, that was...
You waited months.
Yeah, that was the thing. Even with Shin and all those, I mean, you're like, okay, is there a new one? Okay, I'll come back next month.
Yeah,
is there a new one?
Wasn't like week to week we waited on these things. We would wait... You watched, I don't know, 10 of these series because it might be a month or 2 or 3 before a second episode came out because they'd have to make it. That's how time intensive Flash was at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I was, just getting keyframe by keyframe. I'm not really sure how it all works because I tried to learn it. I know a little bit of that stuff more now because of Premiere and editing in Premiere and doing some Adobe stuff with Audition, I mean. And I know I'm understanding it more now, the work behind it, but it's so much easier now, and the computers are faster in rendering that I can't imagine how much time each one of those scenes took, especially creating all the artifacts and drawing and positioning and keeping consistency across all the frames. I don't know how you do all that. I really don't, especially back then.
I don't either. I mean, it was something that, I mean, it was honestly it was a great series. First of all, even the first episodes, and don't get me wrong, the animation and the voice acting got 10 times better as time went on. But I mean, early on, even the storyline was just intriguing. You know what I remember most about that? I remember like the main bad guy ate his own eyeball at one point.
Yes. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It like pops out of his head and he's crazy and he starts laughing and then he eats his own eyeball.
He eats his own eye. Yeah. So there's this like warlord after him, and Ninja is just kind of and he has a little bird. The bird I was talking about, they're painting around this bird. It's his bird companion.
Well, yeah, but remember, there's that guy that he sends out like the snake thing out of his hand, and that's what the bird's flying away from. But you see both.
Oh, yeah.
You see both the bird and this snake flying thing up until like they fly through some bushes or fly through some leaves, and all of a sudden you see like a close up of this thing getting cut in half because Ninja swings his sword at it.
Yeah, he's like obviously a ninja.
Yeah, and it cuts the. Well, I'd put him more in the samurai category.
Now the thing about Ninja was they quit making the series to make a feature length film, and I cannot remember the name of that film, but it did.
Karmakula.
Karmakula, that's it.
It was
garbage.
It was a live action Flash film
basically
online. It was on their website, and it wasn't
good.
God awful terrible.
It was bad. The acting was bad. I'm sure it was written to be kind of towards Flash, but if you go to ninja.com, you'll see some of their animation, and you'll see how good it is. It looks like, wow, this looks like cartoons today. Like quality cartoons.
Well, I'm pretty sure what you're seeing now
that's the new stuff.
That's the new stuff. They're put out a trailer for the feature film.
I would have, yeah.
And last time anybody updated anything was 2015. So I don't know if it's even going to see the light of day at this point. I'm sure they still have to figure out somebody that'd be willing to carry it.
I think they could make it and release it on their own. I'd pay $5 to watch it depending on its length.
Well, yeah.
I mean that's kind of a model that's going well right now. Now you said, I remember this. You mentioned a quote that you had told me before, or I had heard before. Is Quentin Tarantino talked about Ninja?
Well, yeah, Quentin. If I remember correctly, I think it was Tarantino mentioned that it was one of those that had great potential, but it was basically wasted because it was never finished.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing: don't quote me on that, because I read that a long
I remember
time ago.
I remember us talking about that.
But it was interesting at the time when I read that. It was interesting to me because I was like, Quentin Tarantino, like a big time movie director, is watching Flash animation. Like that's something that's actually happening. Like. It was something I couldn't wrap my mind around.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it more than a decade ago. But yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's something. I'm looking online to see if I can confirm it, but it's probably like on some like news site buried deep.
Yeah.
All right.
It was something that was. It was something that I read about in passing. I'm going to have to dig deeper to find it. But I mean, it was something that, I mean, don't get me wrong. Ninja was a great series. And honestly, it was something I could see him being a fan of.
Yeah. Really good. Bloody. Well, it was kind of gory and really raw in the sense of like, it was violent. According to Wikipedia, the trusted news source, Ninja, the Little Ninja is a Flash cartoon. The cartoon is no longer available online as of April 2015. Yeah. And the group that created it was called the Ninja Gang. And it was a collection of just people that worked on it in their spare time. And they didn't make any money from I don't know how they made money doing this.
And I remember something about that Karmakula had somebody, they always advertised on their website that it had somebody from, I guess, the stunt double for Kill Bill, for the main actress in Kill Bill.
Okay.
Was in that, had something to do with that Karmakula movie thing.
Oh, okay. That could be why Quentin Tarantino.
Which I did just find a blog post from 2009 on Rosie Barn, talking about how Tarantino admitted to being a fan of Ninja.
Wow.
I'm still looking for a more definitive thing, but I mean, that's something from 2009 where he talked about that.
Well, that's how prevalent Ninja, the little ninja was. It was just it was really well done. When I think of Flash animation, I'm not going to say at its height by any means, but I'm going to say at really good quality, good storytelling. That was all just done in Flash, and I was so impressed by it. That's this. That was Ninja, and it's so sad that you can't even go watch the old ones. I can't believe why take them down.
They're on YouTube somewhere.
I'm sure they are. I'm going to go check. I mean, we got what's this? Life.1 Zen. What do you say? How do you say that?
Shin Zen.
Yeah.
Well, while you look that up, I want to bring up one that we kind of mentioned at the very beginning, but a place where you could find a lot of. See, there it is.
Yeah, I see it.
A lot of Flash animations in one place, and that was Newgrounds.com.
Yeah, Newgrounds.
Newgrounds was one that honestly I liked. I remember at the time you were not a fan of because it ran so slow.
It was so dog slow because so many people are on it.
Oh yeah, it was highly popular
because it had games and it had videos and it had music.
Still does.
It still has all of that.
Still has all those things. Founded by Tom Fulp. I remember his first animation was Pico. It was a little video game.
Oh, really?
I played it. It's pretty fun. You're shooting people in a school.
Wow.
Yeah, bad thing to bring up at this point. But they're aliens. Pico's school walkthrough. See,
I remember this game. Wow. I can't. Wow, it seems really inappropriate with the
current climate. It's something that probably it's one of those things you kind of have to be aware of. It's out there, but Tom Fulp founded this as a place where people could come out and they put their animations. One that I watched was a weird Super Mario Brothers Dragon Ball Z crossover. It had Sonic in it. Sonic came over into Mario's world. There was this whole storyline. Once again, another one that never finished. It was highly popular though. But people would just take. There were websites that had sprites on them from Nintendo and Super Nintendo and things like that, and they would make animations with those, and that's one of those that did this.
Is this it?
No, that's not it. It's Super Mario Brothers X.
Super Mario Brothers X.
Super Mario Brothers Z, sorry. Super Mario Brothers Z.
Rose Z. Does they spell brothers out? Oh, there
no,
it is.
Just Z.
All right. I'm just kind of curious.
See, it even had the music at the end where it was like, the Dragon Ball Z music at the end would be like dun dun dun, and it'd be telling you what was going to happen next time. I mean,
I kind of remember this stuff.
It was, buddy. I'm telling you, it was all over the place. It was this kind of thing was big time. People did enjoy this. I'm going to stop looking for the
Quentin
Tarantino quote, but it's something that I don't know. I enjoyed this one. This is one that I thought was interesting. It was one of those. It was also all told through
cards.
Yeah, not cards, but just there was no voices. It was all
like
bubbles.
Bubbles, yeah.
Yeah. And so I mean, and like you said, you could get music there. It was just a place people could go to, a creator's place. It was a place they could go and work together on stuff. I remember seeing a lot of things where people would be soliciting voice actors or animators to work on projects with them, and some of those came about, but others were just kind of
one shots. Yeah, I mean, there's been some pretty, I don't want to say famous, but pretty well-known people that kind of came out of the Newgrounds culture. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. A couple sound designers for some video games. I'm trying to think. which video game. We talked about this. There's been. Do you remember the artist who was founded through Newgrounds? He was like, there's been a couple. There's been several that had been founded that did video game sound design for different systems of different games.
I do not.
I can't remember. I've read it, but I can't back it up at this moment. So
well, I mean, that's
don't.
That's the thing is that, well, so for example, we just talked about this, like Castle Crashers and Battle Block Theater, and then Alien Hominoid, if you know what that is. Those were all done by, you find out the company has something to do with Tom Fulp. Tom Fulp was involved in all of that, and if you go back farther, you find out some of these guys got their start on Newgrounds.
Yeah, like our previous intro was done by a guy I think started on Newgrounds, and he did Castle Crashers, and we did not know that.
Yes,
because on Newgrounds, a lot of the audio you can take and use as long as you credit the author. And so I grabbed just a sound clip, credited the creator, because we don't make any money on our show, so I just used it as an intro clip. We got that, and we got dinged on YouTube for using it. And I was like, what? And so I was like, well, I'm gonna have to go look up what this person is, and come to find out, oh, that's a song used in Castle Crashers, and we got it off of Newgrounds from some waterfall, something Fire Waterfall. I can't remember the name of the artist, but all his stuff is on Newgrounds, and it does say you can use it, and it is his site. It is him, but they were picked up and used, I believe, in Castle Crashers.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. I also forgot that the one of the things that Newgrounds brought us was the Numa Numa dance.
Is that off of Newgrounds?
Yeah,
originally.
Yes. Well, it was.
Oh, wow.
It was one of. I mean, it was one of the. That's one of the places I guess he put it. That hoo, the kid dancing to that song or whatever. You had people on there like Ego Raptor, who did those Metal Gear parodies and all that sort of thing.
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember that one?
Nah, you were more of a Newgrounds guy than I was. I did my best to avoid Newgrounds.
Do you know who Ego Raptor is, sir?
It sounds really familiar. I'm sure I'd know his stuff if I heard him.
Buddy, he is... Do you know who the Game Grumps are?
Yeah, Game Grumps. I know them.
Yes, he is now part of Game Grumps.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is not the... He's kind of the one with... I don't know how to describe
I don't really
him.
watch Game Grumps, but I mean, that's okay. But I know who they are. That reminds me, Rooster Teeth picked up this guy, JT Music. I'm not sure who this is. Do you know who JT Music is?
I have no idea who JT Music is.
Okay, well, Rooster Teeth picked him up for his videos. I was just curious if there was some sort of relation. I have to look that up later. All right, well, Nick, yeah,
we need to do kind of a just a rundown really quickly of some other ones that people probably know of. We talked about very quickly Gotham Girls.
No, we didn't talk about it.
Well, you and I before.
Oh yeah, we talked about it.
But it was one that was done by DC Animation, and it was actually put online. They actually did Lobo cartoons too. I remember. They had a separate one for Lobo cartoons that were a little bit more adult oriented. But they went along with the Batman and Superman animated adventure universe.
Okay.
There were those. One that you are a fan of is Mr. Alan Becker, and what has he done?
I was Animation versus Animator.
Yes.
Animator versus Animation. Which
is a great animation that was first done in Flash.
Yeah, and it's impressive. I forget when. I don't know when that one came out. The original. It came out a long time ago. 10 years ago at least. Because here it is on YouTube, the original, and it's uploaded 10 years ago and it has 16 million views. It was out before that though. It was out before YouTube existed. If I remember right. Let's see if there's a history of it on the video itself. If it's like
I have no idea, sir. This is something that I just remember.
Made entirely.
Animation versus animator. I remember a lot of people online talking about it, saying how great it was. You sent it to me, and of course I watched it. But you know, just to make people aware, I mean, you had things done in Flash. Flash has left a huge legacy. Johnny, what's that one we looked at earlier about the kid with the flame hair?
Johnny Test.
Johnny Test was one that the first 3 seasons were apparently done
entirely in Flash.
Entirely in Flash, and then the last season, I guess, was done in something else. Who cares?
I mean, and that show's not that old.
It's not.
I mean,
it's not. And then you had things like the one that's the Suburban Daredevil.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. Oh yeah. What's his name? No, I remember now. I looked at the picture. I can't remember. Kick Buttowski. Suburban
Daredevil, which was only out. Last episode was in 2013. I just looked it up. Which, I mean, so that's only about 5-6 years ago that show was on.
Yeah, I mean that's insane.
It is. I mean, Flash animation was a huge thing, and it was something that honestly was fun. People had their series and their animation that they loved, and it was something that was just enjoyable. I mean, there were a lot of them that I remember. Adult Swim made some of their first series in Flash animation.
Yeah, Home Movies, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, were both made in Flash.
Well, and I would even guess, I'd have to look it up, but Space Ghost Coast to Coast?
Maybe. I don't know.
Foster's Home of Her Imaginary Friends was also done there.
That was done in Flash?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
That was one that was done in Flash. I mean, there's a lot. And honestly, you mentioned Bob the Builder. I've been trying to figure out if that was done in Flash animation. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty big animation. I forget who owns that now.
Well, my friend, is there anything else you want to say about Flash animation?
As much as it's bagged on now as being like a joke, it was a starting point. Before that, I can't think of a way that you got your videos and animation out there. Before that, I mean, you might have a video or something, but what Flash did well was compression and able to, I think, control your assets a little better and keep your files small, and it did a good job at that. And I think it also is because you could start playing it before it was fully downloaded as well.
Right, but it was also something that was, and I mean. Speaking as someone that didn't know, especially back then, didn't know languages, like programming languages, because when I tried to do Flash, it came out, Newgrounds came out in 1995, and so that means 16-year-old Nick was trying, because before I even met you, I remember about 17 years old, I was watching these videos.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I think I can do something like this. And I remember downloading Flash MX or whatever it was, Flash something.
Adobe, I don't remember what the first one is. Flash MX came out like 2000 something.
I mean, there's a possibility, and don't mishear me, but there's a possibility that my copy of Flash MX may not have been of the legal kind.
I'm not going to say I'm surprised, Nick. If I remember right.
Well, no, but we don't need to remember anything.
The amount of software you got after your Malaysian trip was interesting.
Well, buddy, that was all bought, in a Malaysian store. So let's not
chase that rabbit.
We don't need to slice, small hairs here. Not the rabbit kind. I'm talking about my kind of hair, which is just peach fuzz. But I'm saying that it was something that I thought, man, this is something that I could do. I think it had a low entry point. It was something that anybody could draw, could honestly do and animate and tell a story and, that sort of thing. If you were just going to do something on the drawing level, you really didn't have to code much.
Yeah, the programming language was called action scripting, I think it was the name of the language. And that's what really interested me because I'm more of a programmer than a graphics artist by any means. So yeah, I remember that. Oh wow, I'm just kind of looking through the Flash animation studio stuff here, just kind of browsing for different shows that have been made in it and various points about Flash animation, and it actually mentions Newgrounds as a distribution point for Flash animations. Provided a free hosting platform.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was honestly kind of the first. It was the YouTube of Flash.
It was exactly. That's a great way to describe it.
It was something that anybody could put something out there. I mean, here's another analogy I'll give. It was kind of, except for the monetary aspect of things, it was basically like a Kindle for those that just wanted to write something and make something. They could just put it out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a man. Newgrounds really gave a great stage for displaying your animation.
Well, your talent or your dreams.
So we had two things that really came together. I don't know if Newgrounds was set up to do that originally. Maybe it was. I don't know. Might have to talk to the dude that made it. I can't remember his name again.
Oh, I would love to get an interview with Mr. Tom Fulp.
Tom Fulp, yeah.
Hear about his early...
Like why.
Yeah, early why and how and all that fun stuff. I mean,
exactly.
You know, it would be something that would be interesting. I mean, I respect people that do stuff like that. We're kind of on the cutting edge of things like that and just gave people a platform.
What's the new platform today? Not YouTube. YouTube is over a decade old. What's a platform? Do you think there's a new platform?
Well, it's social media right now. I'm going to go with Vine.
Vine's a good choice.
Even though it's not around anymore.
It's already gone.
It's already gone. It was short-lived. It was the MySpace of platforms.
Yeah. Wow. The GeoCities.
The GeoCities.
Of websites.
Well, you ask what the new platform is. I'm going to go with GeoCities.
Yeah, GeoCities. All right, Nick, we need to start wrapping up here. But I've had a great time talking.
Oh man, this brings up a lot of good memories. I mean, that's the thing. That's part of the reason I wanted to talk about it. It was just something that I saw that for some reason that Zombie, the new episode 1 that James Farr put out back, I guess last year, but for some reason it came across my YouTube today, and I watched it, and I was like, man, Flash animation. I had forgotten almost. I had almost forgotten all about Zombie, but 2, I forgot just how much was out there, just how much Flash animation was out there until I started doing my research.
We didn't have Netflix, and now you just go watch a video on Netflix. I mean, you watched Flash. It was the only thing you could control. I was in college most of the time we did this, so it was the only time I could go, hey, I have time to watch something. What can I find on Newgrounds or Atom Films or Heavy.com and watch?
That's right. Or Ninja. To watch your latest episode of Karma Crapper.
Yeah, no joke.
So, all right, my friends, this has been a great discussion, another great episode. If you remember anything that you loved back from the old days of Flash, why don't you leave us a comment? I don't know, tell us what you think. What were some of the series that you watched and some of the animations that, I don't know, you remember or really made an impact on you? And Eric, why don't you tell them where they can leave those comments?
I think the best place to leave a comment is to do it on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com, if you've ever heard of that social media site, you can type into the search engine, Pull Up a Chair Podcast. You should find this episode listed among them, and you can leave a comment on it. You can also find us on YouTube. We have relinked our YouTube page to our Podbean hosting. And so you will now see just the audio version of the show come across on YouTube. So go to YouTube, type in Pull Up a Chair Podcast. You can also find us on Spotify. Yes, we are on Spotify. PUC Podcast, the network, is on Spotify. You can go there and search for us. I did it myself and found us to verify that I was not dreaming, that we had made it to Spotify. And last but not least, of course, you can find us on our personal website, pucpodcast.website, pucpodcast.website. Twitter, if you want to tweet at us, Pull Up a Chair Pod, at Pull Up a Chair Pod, and that's us there. Sorry, Nick, there's a dramatic pause in there.
Not a problem, my friend. And just to bring back a little something, if you're listening to us on a Lapierre or a Compe or a Tandy 400, do you know what I'm referring to?
I do. I do know what you're talking about.
What am I talking about?
It's off of Homestar Runner. It's the computers.
Yes, it's Strong Bad's list of computers. Remember, he would always...
Yeah.
Eventually, the computers would give out or he'd destroy them. He had the Tandy 400, the Compy 386, the Compy... or the Lappy 486, the Compe, and his current computer, the Lapierre.
I do remember that.
Yeah, if you're listening to us on any of those... Well, my friends, you have tuned in to a great podcast.
Yeah, no joke. Right up your alley.
Right up your alley. Well, my friends, thank you once again for listening. We hope you enjoyed it because we enjoy making these. And as always, we hope you have yourself a great day.
Bye.